Hello everybody, welcome to the second edition of the viewer questions, viewer chat, whatever we're calling this. Maybe you guys can tell me what to call it, I don't know. Coming to you from the nerve center of Redacted Tonight. I always hate that when newscasts are, this is the nerve center of whatever. Fuck you. But anyway, thank you guys for enjoying it last time. You did enjoy it enough, so I'm going to keep doing these for now and keep being your dancing monkey. Because you like it. You like it when I dance. So I do have questions. I have some of your questions here at the end of this. As I said in the last episode, I'm going to tell who the two winners were. I think we decided to do two winners from last week. If you comment on the video, we will enter you in a random drawing of winners to win my comedy special titled Not Allowed on American TV. And you can go watch the first 10 minutes for free over at leecampcomedyspecial.com. So once you're done watching this, go watch that. See what you think of it. That's comedy special. So yeah, at the end of this, tell who the winners are. But let's get into a couple of things. Glenn Harris said in the comments from last week's viewer questions, he said, one guy kills 49, we rightfully lose our minds. We kill 500,000 in one country alone. Crickets. I agree, Glenn. We are blowing up people of color, brown people mainly, in the Middle East and around the world. And honestly, it's not talked about. It doesn't get any coverage. But if a white guy does the exact same thing with a single gun, walks into a mosque and kills innocent people, it is a massive tragedy, wall-to-wall coverage, but we should do that same thing for when our bombs are killing innocent people. That should get equivalent coverage, but it gets like none. And also, I like that he used the word crickets, Glenn. I like that you said crickets because, as you recall, the ridiculous sonic weapon attacks that they said were being done in Cuba against U.S. diplomats. They were somehow hitting them with sonic weapons that caused brain damage, which audio professionals and scientists say is impossible. It turned out that the sound that they released as proof of the sonic weapon was crickets. Other scientists had then retested the sound after the AP put that out there and found out it was a type of cricket that was being called by our mainstream media a top secret Cuban attack weapon. Turns out it was crickets. So, yes, you're right, Glenn. Crickets is absolutely correct. So, yeah, I just wanted to address that and the topics we cover. One topic that I did cover in the show, if you've already seen this week's episode, is the Trump administration pulling out, I think we never signed the ICC, right? The International Criminal Court. But I want to talk a little more about this because I get to a lot of topics in that second segment of Redacted Tonight, and I always have time to get deeply into them. But Pompeo announced this week that he's now suspending all visas to anyone working with the International Criminal Court. And the ICC prosecutes like genocide and war crimes and shit like that, meaning our administration, and this is the same reason we've never been a proponent of the ICC in America, is our administration now, Trump, Obama, Bush, all of them, Clinton, they're nervous that they could be prosecuted for war crimes because they are absolutely, provably, without a doubt guilty of war crimes. We are bombing around the world at all hours. Literally thousands of bombs are dropped a year, most of which never talked about on your media. And these are the Pentagon's own numbers. Now the Pentagon is, since about a year ago, the Pentagon has begun covering up those numbers even more. But these are the Pentagon's own numbers saying thousands of bombs are dropped, whether it's drone, other kinds of bombing like we did in Syria. Thousands of bombs dropped. Pentagon's own numbers, I think this was through maybe one of the leaks, maybe a Snowden leak, 90% innocent civilians killed by these drone bombings. 90%. And I mean, those are crimes against humanity, they're war crimes, and the ICC should definitely be prosecuting them. So now the ICC is looking into Afghanistan. They're looking into possible war crimes in Afghanistan. So what does Pompeo and the Trump administration do? They suspend the visas. They make it illegal for the prosecutors to even travel into the U.S. I mean, it's just hilarious. It's like, you do that, you're saying, we're probably guilty of war crimes. That's what you're saying. Because they know they are. But they've created they want to create a false reality as if they're not fucking criminals at the top of a criminal cabal, basically. Another topic I wanted to get to before I get to more of your questions and comments from last week is Gavin Newsom. Do I have that right? Good old Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, has suspended the death penalty in California indefinitely. And, of course, this is something to celebrate. Our country should not have the death penalty. We're one of the only remaining developed countries with the death penalty. And it is barbaric beyond any stretch of the imagination. And I will debate anyone on the death penalty. The death penalty, if you go down the list of arguments for the death penalty, none of them hold water. None of them hold up philosophically. Okay? It's not, and you know, there's the obvious step, like the fact that they estimate over 4% of those executed are innocent. So you know you're killing innocent people. You are, by definition, killing innocent people in our system now. And people will try and get away from that, and they'll go, well, okay, let's say we're not killing innocent people. Let's say that. And you're like, well, that system doesn't exist. There will never be a system that's 100% accurate. You will always be executing innocent people with our death penalty. So there's that argument. There's the argument of, well, I don't want to pay to have them be in prison if they're horrible people. First of all, we're paying for all kinds of horrible people to be in prison. That's how prison, that's the definition of prison. That's how it works, is we with our tax dollars pay for prisoners. So I don't know why you picked this one to be the one. But secondly, it actually costs more to execute them because of the whole appeals process, teams of lawyers. It's very expensive, actually, to execute someone. Usually takes 20, 30 years. And it is a fucking big ordeal. So the money thing doesn't really hold up. It serves as a warning to other murderers. That's been proven false. It actually doesn't, because if you're getting ready to, if you kill someone, most of the time, probably, I don't know what the actual percentages are of number of planned murders, premeditated versus, you know, fucking in the heat of the moment murders. But most of them are heat of the moment murders. Most of them are some kind of rage, like, thing, rather than like, I'm gonna plan to poison his cocktail 6 months from now. That does happen, but it's a lot more rare. So it's been proven that it doesn't, you don't not murder someone because your state might have the death penalty or something. You've already decided to do something pretty extreme. You're not worried about the consequences generally a lot of the time. But, so that doesn't, I mean, so anyway, so using the stats, ignore my jokes and everything, my sarcastic comments, it's showing the stats, that doesn't prove, it doesn't actually stop people from murdering. So that one doesn't work. What else? People go, well, it feels good to the families get revenge and vengeance, or they get closure. Well, first of all, you can quote all the families who say they didn't get closure from killing someone. They don't want, there's plenty of family members of someone who was blatantly and horribly murdered, and they don't want to add more murder on top of it. They don't want that on their conscience. So there's plenty of family members who don't want that. But on top of it, if we legislated by what felt good, could you imagine the laws? Every law, if every single law was about what would feel good to you now that you've been wronged. So if you know, a person who had their family member killed, they got to decide what happened to it would all be an eye for an eye, which is not how our legislative system works. We don't sentence rapists to be raped. We don't sentence thieves to have their shit stolen. We don't sentence arsonists to have their house burned down. It's not how it works in almost any area. The only one that works like that is kidnapping, because you're then locked in a cage. So you lock them in a cage, you're then locked in a cage. But for the most part, we don't do the eye for an eye thing. That doesn't exist in our system. We don't even do an eye for an eye in the case of someone stealing an eye. Like if you were to take someone's eye, we don't sentence you to have your eye taken. That's not in our law books. You would think if there were one scenario in which we'd have eye for an eye, it'd be in the case of eye theft. But we don't, because it's fucking psychotic. So, anyway, again, death penalty does not hold up on any level. And I could keep going through the list, but we don't have time for that. But, yeah, honestly, if you support the death penalty, I'd like to talk to you about why you do. Because it doesn't hold up on any level. It doesn't further society. It doesn't make us a better people. It doesn't stop people from murdering. It does nothing but just make us barbaric fucking idiots. Oh, so congratulations, California. I forgot this was a good news story. Yay, California. All right, moving on. Let's see. This is from John Sunlight about the Walmart fires hundreds of disabled and elderly workers, which you may recall I covered last week. They're laying off. You know, it's not called firing. They're laying off hundreds of disabled and elderly workers who are greeters at Walmart, because basically what they've done to not say they're laying them off, because that would look bad, they've added responsibilities. So now, in order to be a greeter, you have to also be able to put heavy stuff on a tall shelf. So basically, all of the greeters that were in wheelchairs, all of them that are old with rotator cuff issues, the rotator cuff is something that really, it doesn't hold up over a long term, you know? Someone fucked up when they came up with the rotator cuff. It should be a stronger system, I feel. Anyway, they've added these responsibilities so that basically all these greeters are getting laid off. And John Sunlight said, so some of the richest people on planet Earth need to make more money at the expense of disabled and elderly. Sounds about right. He's basically saying this is how our system is set up. I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, is that in these moments where you go, that's a horrible thing that corporation did, our system is set up to reward that. It is meant to, it is profit over all else. We are capable of setting up a different kind of system. We could set up one where it's not profit over humanity. But instead, we have a system where it's set up like that. And so it's not, yes, this example is about disabled and elderly, but this system is at the expense of all of us. It's at the expense of, 99% of us. It's at the expense of most of us out there. Like most of you out there that are struggling, that are having trouble, that have trouble affording health care, that can't keep a job for various reasons because the company just keeps cutting back and decreasing wages, and maybe it's sexual harassment, maybe it's all kinds of things. The reason you aren't in that job anymore and you're having a rough time. This system is set up at the expense of almost all of us to reward a tiny number of people. So this is like, yes, you can point to this example and say, look at how they're treating these disabled people, which, they had always held up. I think part of it is that Walmart has always held up their greeters as proof that they are good to their community, that they give everyone a chance. Look, this person who doesn't have use of their legs, they can still work at Walmart. And now here they are going, never mind. And as I said in the show, it's like they used to hold up those greeters as like the thing that looked good, as they were abusing every worker in the back room, as they weren't paying good wages, as they were holding canned food drives so that their employees could afford Thanksgiving dinner, as they were abusing everyone. They would hold up the greeters as like, look at what we're doing right. And now they can't even sustain that anymore. So thank you, John, for I think it's a great point. Let's see. This is from Jesus, which, nice name. Well done, brother. Episode 146, he says, damn, that last headline from the future nailed it. Best joke I heard in a while. And I had to look that up. He's talking about the headline from the future. Tucker Carlson claims racist audio clips out of context. He was at Klan rally at the time. And my point in that is, obvious. If you haven't heard them, in the recent episode, I played a very short clip of Tucker Carlson's racist rants from 2006 that have come back into the zeitgeist and been released for people to hear. And the headline from the future right there is saying, whenever these celebrities say something was out of context, and here's the thing, things can be out of context. That is a thing that happens. There are examples. Somebody could easily grab my words and use them out of context, very easily. But in this case, it's like, it's not that out. It's not out of context. You can listen to the whole episode of this radio thing he was on, and he's he may be trying to be funny, but he's trying to be racist funny because he's racist. Like that's what it is. And here's the thing is he has said similar viewpoints in the past. So one of the lines he says is like, people in Iraq are primitive monkeys or something like that. Now, yes, he's trying to get a laugh out of the radio show host, but he's expressed similar viewpoints at other times in his career. He's, you can go back and see various things he said. This is not, it fits with a standard of behavior he has set that makes you say, oh, this is the type of person he is. This is what he believes. And so it'd be different, like if I was impersonating a racist character, like I could have easily said that same line, Iraqis are primitive monkeys. But if I'd said it in a character like, oh yeah, the motherfucking Bush administration with their fucking backwards thing, and Iraqis are just primitive monkeys, let's go ahead and bomb them. Now, out of context, I just said the same thing Tucker Carlson did. But I was doing a character of a racist dude wanting to bomb Iraq. Tucker Carlson was not. There's no point in that radio broadcast where he goes, here's a character. Yeah, oh, remember, they act like this. No, he's playing himself. Anyway, if it didn't go with a long list of other behaviors, then it'd be different. Let's see here. Pro Peace Mind Fortress. You said definitely one of the best shows on YouTube. Winky face. Thank you. That was very kind of you. And you know, a lot of competition out on the YouTubes these days. So that compliment means a lot. This is from Backan11. Backan? Okay. Lee, your hair is perfect. Tell me your secret. So, because your name is Backhand, does that mean you're talking about my back hair? Because my back hair is pretty lush. I braid it every morning. You wouldn't believe the flexibility I've got. Yeah, it's incredible. I have cornrows down my back. Thank you for the hair comments. What, this old thing? I don't think it's perfect. Let's see. What is my secret? Sometimes I wash it. I've been known to wash it. You know what my secret is? I haven't cut it in 5 years, which is true. I haven't had a haircut in 5 years. I don't like them. I'm not a fan of the haircut. And so occasionally I'll pull something off that looks long and I'll cut that off, but I don't cut my hair. So maybe that's my secret. Just let that be a lesson, everybody. Just never cut your hair. I don't like haircuts. It's very awkward. You gotta sit there. There's no other time in my life when I have to sit with someone I don't know, like this close, and you can't even have a conversation with them like as if you're like talking to someone. Like, you know, luckily I get to meet a lot of you guys after shows and things, but you're talking like this. You're not like you're not standing over my shoulder, pulling things off my head. I don't know. It's weird. Some people love haircuts. Some people sign up for haircuts, like go to haircuts just because they're like, I get to hang out with a dude that cuts the hair. I don't know, they like do it as like a pastime. It's like they're going to play pool or something. I don't know. It's awkward. I don't want you. I don't need you there. But the real reason, I mean, I would get over the awkwardness. The real reason is that they cut it way too short. I look like shit. And I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. I'm pretty sure in like the early episodes of Redacted, like first 10 or something, I think I went to get like my first haircut since 4 years earlier. So basically it was 4 years without a haircut. Then I got one haircut before Redacted started because I was like, I need to look legit for this television show thing that's starting. And so I went and got one, and then, you know, and I was like, I don't want it very short. And then they gave me a short haircut and I looked like shit. And I was like, all right, let's not do this anymore. So yeah, that was the last time I got a haircut. Thank you though. Backhand. Thank you, Backhand. And okay, let's see. Are we on to the winners here? Maybe I've covered everything. Yes. Okay. The winners and we'll do it again next week. If you comment on this thread, you get entered into we prefer a legitimate comment, but if you just say hi, we'll count it. We will enter you into a free chance to win my comedy special, my new stand-up comedy special, Not Allowed on American TV. You can go watch the first 10 minutes at leecampcomedyspecial.com. The winners are Jenny Hansen and Amelia Bianco. And Jenny and Amelia, if you just, you'll have to email us to get your prize. It's leecampledger@protonmail.com. And if my web guy is good, it will be right here over my face. So leecampledger@protonmail.com. And that web guy, he also talks to you sometimes. His name is Reese, and you can chat with him if you'd like. Sometimes Reese will be on here. So, but you also can email me if you prefer, as opposed to commenting on the thread, leecampledger@protonmail.com. Why is it called Lee Camp Ledger? Because I also have a newsletter that we started just a few months back called Lee Camp Ledger, which has all kinds of stories. It's once a week. It gives you a 1-minute rundown of everything that was covered this week, and you can sign up for free at leecampledger.substack.com. So just type in leecampledger.substack.com. Hopefully that's across my face right now as well. And I think that is all I have for you guys. All right, now go watch the first 10 minutes for free. Don't have to put any info. LeeCampComedySpecial.com. Watch the first 10 minutes and enjoy yourself. Thank you guys. Please spread the word about Redacted Tonight. Keep fighting out there. There were some huge activist events that went on this past week. If you're not getting out in your cities, fucking find some shit. Get angry. Get mobile. Let's do it. Oh, and keep fighting.